that. But for the Buffalo Bills, this is a receiver room kind of similar to the Packers in that the cost is pretty low. Their most expensive receiver right now is Keon Coleman, who's wide receiver 41. His ADP is 71 right now off the board. So you're pretty much getting him in that 6th round range. And the only kicker is unlike Jordan Love, Josh Allen is the first quarterback to go off the board. I personally have tried a lot in my stacks lately where I take an elite receiver 1st and 2nd round. If I don't love the 3rd round, my thing is I want an elite player, right? And the next elite player is generally the quarterback position. So I'll target Josh Allen sometimes just to get some variance. And if I do get Josh Allen, I'm not really afraid to take even 2 of these receivers and pair them up with Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid right now is the tight end 5 off the board. He's going at pick 51. You can stack Josh Allen with Kincaid, and then you could even fade Keon Coleman at his high prices of 71 in terms of total overall picks. And you can go for Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel, who, are wide receiver 50 and 54. And you can get 3 of those pass catchers with Josh Allen, and you're filling out your roster in between with some pretty good players that you didn't have to pretty much reach on for his pass catcher. So this is a stack I like. I'm pretty high on Khalil Shakir in this wide receiver room. He's the 3rd receiver off the board. I think there's a little bit of worry in that, he is a slot receiver, and Dalton Kincaid is a guy that's getting and will be primarily used in the slot. I think he had 300 plays in the slot last season, and Shakir had somewhere around 200 to 300. So it'll be a big step for Shakir to see if he can break out and be able to play in other positions outside, maybe in the flanker position, or positions outside of the slot. But overall, I think there's value here, and you're getting an elite quarterback. And if Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid hit, or Samuel and Kincaid hit, which I know Anthony's really high on Kincaid this year as well, you're talking about a pretty monster stack without having to reach pretty high outside of Josh Allen on the rest of the pass catchers on this team.
Yeah, I like this one with Allen because you don't have to go up and get Diggs anymore and try to get Allen with that stack. So yeah, you could take Allen, get some other talent, wait it, a few rounds. I've been passing on Keon Coleman. I get Shakir. Sometimes I get Samuel. Kincaid could be a little tricky. If you wait too long, you can miss out on him, but obviously you want to get that. And then if you can get one of those receivers, you feel pretty good. And even, you could even take a shot if you want to get a little crazy, like some of these smaller, like Chihuahuas or whatever. You want to take an MVS or even a freaking Chase Claypool or who the hell is the freaking Mac Hollins? I mean, there's so many different guys they freaking brought in this year. You could just take some wild chances, with Allen. I mean, you got to take them early, but what helps is you can wait, build some other guys, like you said, Pete, and then get those other receivers.
So Josh Allen, let's start with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the most expensive quarterback on the board. He's going as a QB1, and it's deserving because if you look at his fantasy output, quarterback 1 in fantasy points per game, quarterback 3, quarterback 1, quarterback 1. So in the past 4 years, his worst fantasy finish was quarterback 3 in fantasy points per game, with the rest the best in the business. Take away Stephon Diggs. How much is he going to lose there? I think the last season told us, I don't know if Josh Allen's going to lose a lot. Now, early in his career, it took Stephon Diggs and that type of a player to unlock Josh Allen. But last year, we did not get the Stephon Diggs of the past. In fact, he was phased out of this offense for the most part down the stretch. So we already know that Josh Allen can still function in this offense. Now, is there a little bit worry here about the rushing production? Like expecting Josh Allen to get another 15 rushing touchdowns, I would temper expectations there. But we know that we're going to get a top 3 quarterback out of Josh Allen. So what's alluring about these wide receivers? Just like with Green Bay, only it's even cheaper, where your most expensive price wide receiver is Keon Coleman, unknown rookie, Curtis Samuel. Now, where I key in is Khalil Shakir because he's been here. He has the pre-existing rapport with Josh Allen. where Curtis Samuel, we know who he is at this point. Keon Coleman, we really don't know who he is. But he wasn't like it wasn't like Neighbors or McConkey coming out or Harrison coming out. So it's really a wild card what Keon Coleman can be. They also brought in MVS. So the additions that they made, I wouldn't call any of them splash additions. So I'll go with the wide receiver who's already been on this team. No, they also brought in Mac Hollins. I don't want to leave anybody out. But again, he's not going to be as impactful as a Khalil Shakir could be. The other part of this stack I am keying in on, right? Because let's say I get Josh Allen early, I want Khalil Shakir. Well, I really want Dalton Kincaid. As Pete said, I'm really high on Dalton Kincaid. I like to chase tight ends that have a chance to be either number 1 or number 2 on the football team in targets. Dalton Kincaid has a path. At worst, I think number 2. He also has a path to be the team lead in targets. And if that's the case, Dalton Kincaid right now, if you look at his ADP, he's going as the 5th tight end off the board. I believe if things go the way I think they can go for Dalton Kincaid and his opportunity share and his skill set. Oh, by the way, he was the number 2 tight end in slot snaps. So he's extremely versatile and he's going to become a mismatch nightmare entering year 2. I would take Dalton Kincaid in terms of ceiling over Sam Laporta and Trey McBride right now. So that's how high I view Dalton Kincaid. And compared to where you're getting him right around the 5th round, like that's an ideal best ball stack that has a huge ceiling because we already know we got that built-in top 3 quarterback ceiling out of Josh Allen. But if things go right for Dalton Kincaid and the stars align, I think he could finish number 2 behind Travis Kelce in terms of overall tight end output.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I would say is, and Steve brought it up, and then you brought it up earlier today in the chat, Anthony. Scantling's an interesting guy there for best ball, man. Like
for best ball,
yeah. I mean, like if you get say you only get like Dalton Kincaid, and for whatever reason you couldn't get Shakir, you couldn't get the other receivers, like Scantling is a guy you can take with your last pick, and I mean the odds are, and he's going to have those big games like you talked about. I mean, he's going to have those games where he's going to score a couple touchdowns. We know what's going to happen at some point. The only other thing I wanted to ask you guys, and then we can move on, is this the best collection? Is it too early to say this could be one of the better collection of receivers that Josh Allen has? And I know that's crazy to say, and I know we need to see it, but you have Curtis Samuel, who, if he's healthy, he's been a good player. Khalil Shakir stepping up, Dalton Kincaid, Knox, if he's healthy, right? I mean, outside of Diggs, I mean, or maybe this is better to say this. Is it better than it was last year? What we saw with Diggs, can it be better than it was last year, in your opinion?
I think it could be better. Yeah, I think Josh Allen is only going to get better. I think we haven't really seen his best season passing wise. But yeah, I think Kincaid, I love this kid too. I think his first year playing football was a senior in high school. He was a basketball player before that. Just shows you how athletically gifted he is, just to go out there and splash all over the field. And then last year, just so fluid, just looks like a pure athlete. So yeah, he really could be like what Kelce is to Mahomes. Maybe obviously not to that level, but somewhere close eventually, maybe. So yeah, I think he could even take a bigger step up. I do like Shakir a lot. I think it might be his time to shine. And I agree with Anthony. He's the guy you want. We don't really know too much about Keon Coleman. Curtis Samuel, I've always liked. He's struggled with health, but he's another playmaker too. So, yeah, I think I think maybe the key is Keon Coleman. If Keon Coleman could really prove, to the Bills and to the, to this team that he's worth that early 2nd round pick where they took him, then yeah, this could be the best collection of receivers they have. Because in the past, he started with like Kelvin Benjamin, then he had like freaking, Beasley and John Brown, and I'm trying to think of some other names. There was another big receiver that was terrible. I mean, he's had some bad. Even Knox dropped 1 million passes in his career. So yeah, Diggs was nice. I think last year, the constant social media shit, the diva shit. I think it was just wearing on the team, possibly, maybe wearing on Allen. I think it's good that they moved off of him, and maybe the chemistry of the team is even better this year. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying the Bills are on a downward spiral. They missed their chance, yada yada yada. But this could be a case where, just like with Mahomes when he lost Tyreek, the team got even better.
Before we move off this, I do want to mention number one on Dalton Kincaid, 91st percentile in terms of percentage of team targets. He saw 17.1%. You take away Stephon Diggs, I can only see that number getting higher. Again, number two in slot snaps last year. And let's take one more thing into consideration. The Buffalo Bills, they've always had a pretty good defense under Josh Allen. This defense is going to be in turmoil. They lost a lot of good players. They had to lose a lot of good players to get out of salary cap hell. And what does that mean? They're going to have to throw the football more. So again, even more of a reason to buy into not only Josh Allen, but Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.